They say blood is thicker than water, but nobody tells you what happens when that blood turns cold as ice. I'm lying here in my bedroom, my chest burning like fire, phone clutched in my trembling hand, staring at 3 words that would change everything. Message not delivered. My own daughter had blocked me, while I was literally begging for a ride to urgent care because I couldn't breathe. My name is Caroline Matthews, and I'm 72 years old. For the past 50 years, I lived in the same colonial house in Charleston, South Carolina, the house my late husband Thomas and I bought when we were newlyweds, the house where I raised my children, the house I foolishly believed would always be filled with family. But that September afternoon, gasping for air with what I'd later learn was severe pneumonia, I discovered something more painful than any physical ailment. I was completely alone. Before I tell you what happened next, and trust me, you'll want to hear this, I need to know, where are you watching from? Drop your city and state in the comments. I love knowing I'm not alone in this crazy world. And maybe, just maybe, some of you have felt this kind of betrayal too. Let me take you back to how it all began. I had 3 children. Jessica, 47, my eldest, a real estate attorney in Atlanta who was too busy closing deals to return my calls. Michael, 44, who moved to Colorado after his divorce and treated our weekly phone calls like a tedious obligation. And Rebecca, my youngest at 41, who lived just 20 minutes away but might as well have been on another planet. Thomas died 6 years ago. Massive heart attack, no warning, just gone. We'd built a beautiful life together. He was a successful contractor, and I taught elementary school for 30 years. We were careful with money, invested wisely, owned our home outright, and had a vacation property in the mountains near Asheville. When he passed, everything came to me. The house in Charleston was worth about $1.8 million. The mountain cabin, another $650,000. Various investments and savings brought our total estate to just over $3.2 million. My children knew this. Oh, they definitely knew this. After Thomas died, they were attentive for exactly 6 weeks. Then Jessica went back to her high-powered life. Michael returned to his ski trips and bachelor lifestyle. Rebecca, who I'd helped financially through 2 business failures and a messy divorce, went back to seeing me as an obligation rather than her mother. But I told myself it was fine. They were busy. They had lives. I joined a book club, volunteered at the library, played bridge twice a week. I convinced myself I was independent, that I didn't need them hovering over me. Then came that September afternoon. I'd been feeling off for a few days. Tired, achy, running a low fever. But that Thursday, I woke up unable to catch my breath. Every inhale felt like broken glass. I knew something was seriously wrong. My car was in the shop. The transmission had finally given out on my old Buick. I reached for my phone with shaking hands. I called Rebecca first, straight to voicemail. I called Jessica, voicemail. I called Michael, voicemail. Then I started texting. Rebecca, I need help. Can't breathe properly. Need to get to urgent care. Car is in shop. Please call me back. Nothing. Jessica, this is urgent. I'm having trouble breathing. Need a ride to doctor. Please respond. Nothing. Michael, I know you're far, but can you call me? Something's wrong. I'm scared. Nothing. 20 minutes passed. Each breath was getting harder. I was starting to panic, which only made the breathing worse. I tried calling Rebecca again. This time, the call went through for a second, then dropped. I tried again. The number you are trying to reach is not available. She'd blocked me. My own daughter had blocked her mother's number while I was in a medical crisis. I sat there on the edge of my bed, tears streaming down my face, phone trembling in my hands. The room was starting to spin. I knew I needed help immediately, but I had nowhere to turn. In that moment, the crushing weight of my isolation became crystal clear. I had no close neighbors. Our property sat on 2 acres with the nearest house barely visible through the trees. Most of my friends from the book club were my age or older, and I couldn't ask them to deal with a medical emergency. That's when I thought of Marcus. Marcus Washington was 34 years old, the son of my former teaching assistant, Patricia. I'd known him since he was 8 years old. Patricia had passed away from cancer 3 years ago, and Marcus had taken it hard. She'd raised him alone after his father left when he was a baby. After her death, Marcus and I had stayed in touch. He'd stop by every few weeks to check on me, help with heavy lifting, fix things around the house. He never asked for anything in return. He'd just show up with groceries sometimes or text to see if I needed anything from the store. "Just making sure you're okay, Miss Caroline," he'd say. "Mama would want me to look after you." With trembling fingers, I found his number and called. "Miss Caroline, you okay? You sound terrible." "Marcus," I wheezed, "I can't breathe right. I need to get to urgent care, but my car—" "I'm coming right now. Don't move. I'm 15 minutes away." He was there in 12. I heard his truck pull up, then his footsteps running up my porch stairs. He didn't even knock. I'd told him where I kept the spare key months ago. He found me still sitting on my bed, struggling for each breath. "Miss Caroline, we need to go right now," he said, his face tight with concern. He helped me stand, grabbed my purse, and within 2 minutes had me in his truck, headed to the urgent care center. At urgent care, they took one look at me and called an ambulance. "Severe pneumonia," the doctor said. "Your oxygen levels are dangerously low. We're sending you to the hospital immediately." Marcus rode in the ambulance with me, holding my hand. "Did you call your kids?" he asked gently. I just shook my head, too exhausted and heartbroken to speak. I spent 5 days in the hospital. Bilateral pneumonia, they said. Another few hours and I might not have made it. The doctors pumped me full of antibiotics and kept me on oxygen. Marcus came every single day, sometimes twice a day. He brought me real food when I couldn't stand the hospital meals anymore. He brought me books and magazines. He sat with me when the nights got long and scary. My children? Radio silence. On day 3, I finally got a text from Rebecca. "Mom, sorry I missed your calls. Been super busy with the new business venture. Hope you're doing okay." The new business venture I'd given her $35,000 to start 6 months ago. I didn't respond. Something inside me had fundamentally shifted during those 5 days. Lying in that hospital bed, watching Marcus show up faithfully while my own flesh and blood couldn't be bothered, I made a decision. When I was discharged, Marcus drove me home and stayed for 2 hours, making sure I had everything I needed. He'd already stocked my refrigerator. He'd mowed my lawn. He'd brought in my mail and watered my plants. "Marcus," I said as he was getting ready to leave, "sit down for a minute. I need to talk to you about something." He sat, concern flickering across his face. "Everything okay, Miss Caroline?" "I want to change my will," I said. "I want to leave everything to you." His eyes went wide. "Miss Caroline, no. I'm not. I didn't do any of this for—" "I know you didn't," I interrupted. "That's exactly why I want to do it. My children have made it very clear where their priorities lie. You were here when I needed someone. You've been here for 3 years, ever since your mother passed. You've never asked me for a single thing." "But they're your kids," he protested. "I can't." "They're adults who blocked their mother's calls during a medical emergency," I said flatly. "Marcus, I'm 72 years old. I'm not going to live forever. When I die, everything I have is going to someone. It might as well be someone who actually gives a damn whether I'm alive or dead." He was quiet for a long moment. "Are you sure about this?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my life." Over the next 2 weeks, I met with my attorney, Donald Prescott, a man I'd known for 30 years. I told him everything. His face grew darker with each detail. "Caroline, I'm so sorry," he said. "No parent should experience this. Are you absolutely certain about this change? It's a significant estate." "Completely certain, Donald. I want Marcus to inherit everything. The house, the cabin, the investments, all of it. My children get nothing." "They can contest it," he warned. "Then make it bulletproof," I said. "I'm of sound mind. I want this documented. I want it clear that—" This is my choice made freely because of their actions, or rather, their inaction. Donald nodded slowly. I'll draft something that will stand up to any challenge. But Caroline, you should know, this will destroy your relationships with your children. I laughed, a bitter sound. Donald, there's nothing left to destroy. The new will was executed and notarized within 10 days. Donald was thorough. He included specific language about my mental competency, had me evaluated by a physician who confirmed I was of sound mind, and even recorded a video of me explaining my decision in my own words. In that video, I spoke directly to the camera. I am Caroline Elizabeth Matthews, and I am 72 years old. I am making these changes to my will of my own free will, with full mental capacity. On September 14th, I experienced a medical emergency, severe pneumonia that nearly killed me. I called and texted all 3 of my children begging for help. My daughter Rebecca blocked my number. My other children didn't respond. Marcus Washington, who is not related to me by blood but who I consider my true family, dropped everything and saved my life. This will reflect where my love and gratitude truly lie. I watched it back with Donald, and I didn't feel sad. I felt empowered. But I didn't tell my children about the change. Not yet. I wanted to see what would happen naturally. Weeks passed. I recovered fully from the pneumonia. October arrived with its beautiful Charleston autumn, the heat finally breaking, the light turning golden. Marcus continued to check on me regularly, but I made it clear he was welcome to live his own life. "You don't owe me anything," I told him repeatedly. "I know," he'd say with that gentle smile, "but Mama taught me to look after people who matter. You matter, Miss Caroline." In late October, I finally got a phone call from Jessica. "Mom, hi. Sorry I've been so out of touch. Work has been absolutely insane. How are you?" "I'm fine, Jessica," I said coolly. "Great. Listen, I'm going to be in Charleston for a conference in 2 weeks. I thought I could stay with you for a few days. We could catch up." Something in her tone made my suspicions rise. "What's the conference about?" A pause. "Estate planning, actually. For clients, you know. Anyway, can I stay?" "The house is being fumigated that week," I lied smoothly. "You'll have to get a hotel." "Oh." She sounded disappointed. "Well, maybe we can still have dinner." "Maybe," I said non-committally and ended the call. She never showed up for that dinner. The conference, I later learned from a mutual acquaintance, didn't exist. 2 weeks later, Rebecca called, first time in 2 months. "Mom, I've been thinking about you so much. How are you feeling?" "Feeling about what?" I asked innocently. "You know, weren't you sick or something? I thought you texted me about that." My blood went cold. "Yes, Rebecca. I had pneumonia. I was hospitalized for 5 days. I nearly died." "Oh my gosh, Mom, I'm so sorry. I must have missed those texts. Things have been so crazy. The new business is really taking off. Actually, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about." "Let me guess," I said. "You need more money." "Well, it's an investment opportunity, really. There's this space that just became available and—" "No," I said simply. "No?" She sounded genuinely shocked. "No, I'm not giving you any more money, Rebecca." The line went silent for a moment. "Mom, I don't understand. You've always supported my dreams." "Your dreams have cost me over $80,000 in the past 4 years, Rebecca. And when I was literally dying, you blocked my calls. So no, I won't be funding any more ventures." "I didn't block you," she protested. "My phone must have glitched or something. You can't seriously hold that against me." "Your phone glitched at the exact moment your mother was having a medical emergency." How convenient. "Mom, you're being really unfair right now." "Am I? Tell me, Rebecca, when was the last time you visited me? And I don't mean when you needed something. When was the last time you came by just to see how I was doing?" Silence. "That's what I thought," I said. "Don't call me again unless you're interested in actually being my daughter, not my ATM." I hung up. Michael called 3 days later. They were clearly coordinating. "Mom, Rebecca told me you're upset with her. What's going on?" What's going on, Michael, is that I nearly died in September, and none of my children could be bothered to help me. What's going on is that I've spent 6 years since your father died trying to maintain relationships with 3 people who clearly see me as nothing more than a future inheritance. That's not fair, Mom. I live in Colorado. How was I supposed to help? You could have called me back. You could have arranged for someone to help me. You could have done literally anything except ignore me. I didn't see the messages until later. I was on a ski trip and my phone was in a locker. A ski trip, I repeated. Your mother is dying, but you're on a ski trip. Do you hear yourself, Michael? You're being dramatic. You're obviously fine now. No thanks to you or your sisters. I'm done with this conversation. For the next 3 months, I was at peace. Marcus and I developed a genuine friendship. We'd have dinner once a week. Sometimes he'd cook, sometimes I would. We'd watch old movies together. He'd tell me about his job as a civil engineer, his hopes to maybe start his own firm someday. I told him stories about his mother, keeping her memory alive. You know what Mama used to say about you? He said one evening. She said you were the kindest person she ever met, said you treated her like family, not just an employee. When she got sick, you were one of the only people from your school who visited her in the hospital. Your mother was a remarkable woman, I said, and she raised a remarkable son. In December, I got a group text from Jessica. Family meeting needed. All 3 of us are concerned about Mom. We need to discuss her living situation and care needs. I showed it to Marcus, who was over fixing a leaky faucet. He read it and shook his head. They haven't talked to you in months and suddenly they want a family meeting? They smell money, I said. They're probably worried I'm spending their inheritance on medical care or something. What are you going to do? I smiled. Absolutely nothing. Let them stew. And if you're watching this thinking, Caroline, make them pay, hit that subscribe button right now because you're going to love what comes next. January arrived with unseasonably cold weather for Charleston. Ice coated the live oaks in my yard, turning everything into a crystal wonderland. I was sitting in my living room with Marcus, both of us drinking hot chocolate, when my doorbell rang. All 3 of my children stood on my porch. I hadn't seen them together in over 2 years. Jessica in her expensive suit, Michael in his ski jacket, Rebecca in designer jeans that probably cost more than I spent on groceries in a month. They looked like strangers to me. Mom, Jessica said with a bright fake smile. Surprise. We decided to all come visit you together. Aren't you happy to see us? I didn't open the door any wider. What do you want? Can we come in? It's freezing out here. I stepped aside silently. They filed in, then stopped short when they saw Marcus on my couch. Oh, Rebecca said, her voice cooling. You have company. This is Marcus Washington. His mother worked with me for years. Marcus, these are my children. Marcus stood politely and extended his hand. Jessica shook it limply. Michael barely acknowledged him. Rebecca ignored him completely. We need to talk as a family, Jessica said pointedly. Marcus is family, I said. Anything you have to say, you can say in front of him. Jessica's jaw tightened. Fine. Mom, we're worried about you. You're not getting any younger and living alone in this big house. I'm 72, not 92, and I'm perfectly capable. But what about when you got sick? Michael jumped in. What if something like that happens again? You mean when I nearly died and none of you helped me? I asked pleasantly. That time? Mom, we've apologized for that, Rebecca said impatiently. No, you haven't. Not one of you has apologized. You've made excuses, but you've never once said, I'm sorry I failed you when you needed me most. An uncomfortable silence fell. Look, Jessica said, her attorney voice coming out, we think you should consider moving into a retirement community, somewhere with medical staff on site. We've been looking at some really nice places. So you can sell this house, I finished. That's what this is really about. It's about your safety, she protested. It's about your inheritance. You're worried I'll spend it all on medical care or, God forbid, give it to someone else. That's ridiculous, Michael scoffed. This is our family home, our inheritance. You can't just what? I asked, my voice like ice. Can't just do what I want with my own property? The property I bought with your father? The property I've maintained for 50 years? We're your children, Rebecca said. We have a right. You have no rights. I cut her off. You have expectations. There's a difference. Jessica's eyes narrowed. Mom, are you saying what I think you're saying? I'm saying that I've spent 6 years alone since your father died. 6 years watching you three show up only when you needed something. I had a medical emergency, and the only person who came to my rescue was Marcus. Not one of you even called to check on me afterward. That's not true, Rebecca protested. I texted you. You texted me 2 weeks later asking if I was okay, and then immediately asked for money for your latest business scheme. My voice rose for the first time. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I don't see exactly what you three are? What we are. Michael's face was reddening. We're your kids. We're your family. Marcus has been more family to me in the past year than any of you have been in the past 6. He checks on me. He helps me. He spends time with me not because he wants something, but because he actually cares. Jessica's eyes flickered to Marcus with unmistakable hostility. So that's what this is about. Some stranger has wormed his way into your life and turned you against your own children. Marcus stood up. Miss Caroline, I should go. Sit down, Marcus, I said firmly. You're not going anywhere. To Jessica, I said, Marcus has never asked me for a single thing. Can any of you say the same? This is insane, Rebecca said. You're going to cut us out for some random guy? Random? I laughed. I've known Marcus since he was 8 years old. I was there when his mother died. I know his favorite food, his birthday, what he's afraid of. Can you tell me the last time any of you asked about my life? Not my health as it relates to your inheritance, but my actual life. My friends, my hobbies. What makes me happy? Silence. Total silence. That's what I thought, I said quietly. Jessica pulled out her phone. I'm calling our attorney. This is elder abuse. He's clearly manipulated you. I'm 72, not senile. I've already spoken with my attorney. I've been evaluated by physicians. I've made my decisions with complete mental clarity, and they've all been documented. The color drained from Jessica's face. You've already changed the will. I have. You can't do this, Rebecca shrieked. That's our money. Daddy would be ashamed of you. Something in me snapped. Your father would be ashamed of you. All of you. He worked his whole life to build something for our family, and you three have treated me like nothing more than a bank. Account waiting to die. When he had his heart attack, you were all there at the hospital. You cried. You gave beautiful eulogies. And then 6 weeks later, you disappeared from my life. We have our own lives, Mom, Michael said defensively, and I never asked you to give them up. I just asked you to be my children, to call occasionally, to visit without wanting something, to give a damn if I lived or died. Tears were streaming down my face now. When I couldn't breathe, when I thought I might be dying, I called you, all of you. And you know what happened? Rebecca blocked me. Jessica, you didn't even listen to the voicemail for 3 days. Michael, you were too busy skiing. Marcus, a man who owes me nothing, dropped everything and saved my life. So you're giving everything to him? Jessica's voice was venomous. Millions of dollars to someone you're not even related to. He's more my son than Michael has ever been, I said. The words hung in the air like a grenade. Michael's face went purple. You don't mean that. I absolutely mean it. Marcus has shown me more love and respect in 1 year than you've shown me in 6. Yes, I've left everything to him. The house, the cabin, the investments, all of it. When I die, you three get nothing. We'll contest it, Jessica said immediately, her legal mind already working. You can't be of sound mind to make a decision like this. I anticipated that. That's why I have medical evaluations, video testimony, and extensive documentation of your neglect. Donald Prescott made sure this will is absolutely bulletproof. Donald's in on this too? Rebecca looked betrayed. Donald is my attorney. He works for me, not for you. And before you try to claim Marcus coerced me, there are witnesses who can testify that he actually tried to talk me out of it. He didn't want the inheritance. I insisted. Jessica started pacing, her mind clearly racing through legal strategies. There has to be something. Undue influence, diminished capacity. There's nothing, I said firmly. Accept it. You've lost. Lost? Michael exploded. You're our mother. This isn't a game. Then why have you been playing one for 6 years? Every phone call calculating what you might get. Every visit with your hand out. Don't you dare pretend this is about love now. Rebecca sank onto the couch, her face crumpling. Mama, please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about not being there when you were sick. I made a mistake, but you can't punish us forever for one mistake. One mistake? I stared at her. Rebecca, you've asked me for money 17 times since your father died. 17? You know how many times you visited just to see me? Twice. Twice in 6 years. And both times you left with a check. I'll pay you back, she said desperately. Every penny. Just please don't do this. It's already done. The will is signed, notarized, and filed. When I die, everything goes to Marcus. What if we're better? Michael asked, a pleading note in his voice. What if we start calling more, visiting more? Would you change it back? I looked at him sadly. Would you, though, Michael? Or would this just be another manipulation? Another performance to get what you want? It wouldn't be a performance. We love you. Then prove it. Not because there's money on the line, but because I'm your mother. Call me every week. Visit me every month. Actually be there for me. But know this. The will isn't changing. Whatever relationship we rebuild from here has to be built on love, not inheritance. Jessica's expression hardened. Fine. You want to throw away your family for some stranger, that's your choice. But don't expect us to stick around and watch you make a fool of yourself. I don't expect anything from you anymore, Jessica. That's the difference now. I have no expectations, so I can't be disappointed. She grabbed her purse. Come on, guys, we're leaving. Rebecca looked torn, but Michael was already heading for the door. Jessica paused at the threshold. You're going to die alone, she said coldly. I hope he was worth it. I'd rather die with one person who truly cares than live surrounded by 3 who don't, I replied. They left. The door slammed behind them. The silence that followed their departure was deafening. I stood there, trembling, as the magnitude of what had just happened crashed over me. I'd essentially ended my relationship with all 3 of my children. Despite everything they'd done, or hadn't done, they were still my babies. The children I'd carried, raised, loved. Marcus appeared beside me with a glass of water. Miss Caroline, sit down, you're shaking. I sat, and the tears came. Not gentle tears, but great heaving sobs. Marcus just sat next to me, his hand on my shoulder, letting me cry it out. Did I do the right thing? I finally asked. He was quiet for a moment. Only you can answer that. But Miss Caroline, I want you to know you don't owe me this. We can tear up that will right now. I never expected anything from you. I know, I said, wiping my eyes. That's exactly why it's yours. Over the next 8 months, I didn't hear from my children, not a single call, text, or email. It was like they'd erased me from their lives completely. It hurt more than I'd expected. Some mornings, I'd wake up and reach for my phone, thinking about calling one of them. But then I'd remember Rebecca's blocked number, Jessica's calculating eyes, Michael's indifference, and I'd put the phone down. Marcus continued to be exactly who he'd always been, kind, attentive, genuine. We celebrated his 35th birthday with dinner and a homemade cake. He helped me plant a new garden in the spring. When I had a minor health scare in April, just a stomach bug, but it scared me, He was there within the hour with soup and ginger ale. "You don't have to keep doing this," I told him. "The will is set. You don't have to earn anything." "Miss Caroline," he said patiently, "I'm not here because of the will. I'm here because Mama taught me to take care of people I love. And I love you." Simple words, but they meant everything. In September, exactly 1 year after my pneumonia, I made a decision. I called Donald Prescott. "Donald, I want to do something else. I want to sign the house over to Marcus now, not wait until I die." "Caroline, are you sure? That's a significant step. I'm 73 years old. I could die tomorrow or live another 20 years. Either way, I don't want Marcus to have to wait. I want to see him enjoy it, and I want to make absolutely certain my children can't contest it. If you sign it over now, it's a done deal. They'd have no grounds to contest anything." "Perfect, let's do it." 2 weeks later, I signed over the deed to my Charleston home and the mountain cabin to Marcus, Washington. The total value approximately $2.5 million in property. I kept enough investments to live comfortably for the rest of my life, with Marcus as the beneficiary on those accounts as well. When the paperwork was complete, I handed Marcus the folder with all the documents. He opened it, read the first page, and looked at me with tears in his eyes. "Miss Caroline, I can't accept this." "You already did. It's done. The house is yours." "But where will you live?" he asked, confused. "Right here, for as long as I want. We'll work out a rental agreement, something symbolic, so there's no question about my living situation. But Marcus, this is your house now. You can start your life. Maybe start that engineering firm you've been dreaming about. Get married someday, have kids. Fill this house with the family it deserves." "You're my family," he said simply. 3 months later, I got a certified letter. It was from Jessica. She'd somehow found out about the property transfer, probably through public records, and was threatening legal action for undue influence and elder exploitation. I called Donald immediately. "Let her try," he said confidently. "We have a year of documentation showing Marcus's character, your mental competency, and your children's neglect. We have testimony from your doctors, your neighbors, your friends. We have your video statement. There's not a judge in South Carolina who would side with her." Jessica did try. She filed a lawsuit in November. The hearing was set for January. Marcus wanted to hire his own attorney, but I refused. "Donald will handle this. This is my fight, not yours." The courtroom was cold and sterile. Jessica sat on one side with her attorney, an expensive shark from Atlanta. Michael and Rebecca sat behind her. They wouldn't even look at me. Donald presented our case methodically, medical records from my pneumonia, phone records showing their lack of contact, my video testimony, statements from neighbors who'd witnessed Marcus's devoted care and my children's absence, the physician's evaluation confirming my mental competency. Then he called Marcus to the stand. "Mr. Washington," Jessica's attorney began, "isn't it true that you stood to gain millions from befriending an elderly, lonely woman?" "No, sir," Marcus said calmly. "I didn't know Miss Caroline had money when I started helping her. I did it because my mother taught me to respect my elders and take care of people who need help." "How convenient. And when did you learn about her wealth?" "When she told me she wanted to change her will. I tried to talk her out of it." "You expect us to believe you turned down millions of dollars?" "I didn't turn it down. I told her she should leave everything to her children, where it belonged. She's the one who insisted." The attorney spent an hour trying to shake Marcus's story, but he never wavered because he was telling the truth. When it was over, the judge took less than 10 minutes to deliberate. "The evidence is overwhelming that Mrs. Matthews made these decisions of her own free will, with sound mind, and for reasons that are both understandable and well documented. Her children's neglect during her medical crisis is particularly troubling. The lawsuit is dismissed with prejudice. Mrs. Matthews is entitled to dispose of her property as she sees fit." Jessica stood up, her face twisted with rage. "This isn't over, Mother." "Yes, Jessica," I said quietly. "It is. That was 14 months ago. I'm 74 now, still living in what is technically Marcus's house. He started his engineering firm last spring. It's doing well. My children never contacted me again. But I have my dignity, my independence, and one person who genuinely loves me. Sometimes family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up when you can't breathe.